Thank you for joining me today. For those of you that are maybe new to the channel, my name is Tim. This is Freight Master Resources, and we provide tips, tools, resources, industry news to help you become more successful as a carrier, freight broker, or freight agent. Okay. For the excuse me, I don't know where that came from. For those of you that have been following the channel, I do apologize. I didn't get to a couple of my videos there last week like I wanted to. We're really kind of starting to see things kind of heat up a little bit more. At least that's what I'm seeing. You know, I've got a ton of RFQs. I've got some new dedicated lanes coming up. I mean, it's just, and between answering everybody's emails and DMs and, you know, and everything, it's just, I don't know. There's like this energy that's kind of going on right now, right? And it's, I hope you guys are feeling it too. Okay. I'm building new carrier relationships. We're picking up new customers. I mean, I don't know. There's been a lot of speculation with the market in 2024, you know, and things. And while not perfect, right, I do think that we're hitting that time of the year right now. So, whereas, you know, certain sectors in the industry maybe have been sort of lagging or a little sluggish. We're starting to see some of that start to pick up a little bit now, right? So that being said, before I go any further, I want to thank Lori over at Faith Logistics. I hope you guys can see that. For sending me some t-shirts. I got some ink pens. These are fabulous ink pens, by the way. Lori, if you're watching this, where did you get these pens? I have to have me some, because these things, I'm a pen guy, right? I don't know if you guys are, but I am absolutely a pen guy. And when you find a favorite pen, you kind of stick with it, right? It's like a favorite hat. I know this hat doesn't go with every outfit that I wear or anything, but it's my favorite hat, so I'll wear it until it burns out, and then I'm gonna have to break in a new one, right? So if you're anything like me, pens, hats, favorite pair of boots or shoes, you know, I don't know. I don't like change when it comes to certain things like that, but yeah, these things write phenomenal. And yeah, she sent this over to me with a very fabulous letter. Thank you so much. Lori has been an active follower of the channel. She's a member of the Facebook group and things. And, you know, we've kind of been talking, and, you know, we've been discussing carrier vetting and things like that, building carrier relationships, shipper relationships, just an abundance of things. So if you are looking for a good broker to work with, get a hold of Faith Logistics. Actually, I have their phone number. Let me pop their phone number up for you guys. Give me just one moment here. I should have had this ready, right? I don't know why I didn't think about this before. I'm never prepared for these things for some reason. Okay. There we go. Faith Logistics. Get a hold of them. Really great people over there. Like, they truly have that networking and building relationships mindset, right, that we keep talking about. And I feel absolutely 100% comfortable with recommending them to you carriers, or if you're a shipper out there looking to work with a freight broker, get a hold of Faith Logistics. I'm sorry. Really phenomenal people over there. I guarantee you won't be sorry. Just some really, I can't say enough. I mean, just the conversations that we've had and everything. And this was just, thank you, Lori, so much. And everybody over at Faith Logistics. I really, this is so awesome. I love, you know, getting new t-shirts and things and showing them off and everything. So But yeah, get a hold of them. You know, if you're a carrier or a shipper looking to work with a really great brokerage, again, Faith Logistics, phone number is up there on the screen. So yeah. So anywho, moving on. So this is going to be kind of an interesting week. We talked about this, I don't know, several videos back about the upcoming Blitz week. And I know that not everybody is familiar with Blitz week. Okay. Some of you new freight brokers and freight agents out there might not truly realize what that is and how that affects, you know, your movement of freight, your customers, things like this. And I felt that this was, we would do some industry talk today, right? And just kind of update everybody, you know, and I know some of you guys are know-it-alls out there, right? You're industry veterans and you got everything down pat and you know that, but hopefully we pass on a little information that helps you out. So this Blitz week is going to be a little bit different than previous blitzes. Okay. They are going to, and it starts tomorrow and runs through the 16th across the US, Canada, and Mexico. Okay. They're going to be, it's a 37-step procedure focusing on vehicle functionality, driver compliance, including brakes, lights, cargo securement. So especially for you guys that are running open deck, you know, they're going to be checking your straps, chains, things like that, right? And your driver's licensing. So they're figuring on an average of 15 inspections per minute. I mean, that seems like a lot, but when you kind of consider the number of trucks out on the road, you know, I don't know. But anyway, there's some speculation that the actual Blitz happens just before and just after the announcement of the DOT Blitz week. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you're a driver or, you know, an industry veteran broker or anything, have you noticed, you know, anything like that? It was kind of a question that I hadn't really thought about until I got ready to do this video. But there's been a little bit of chatter about it, and it kind of got me to thinking. So anyway, for those of you that are new agents, brokers, and things, traditionally, you'll see capacity fall off during the Blitz week. Okay, so this will make it a little bit tougher for you to get your freight moved. You'll also see a little bit of a hike in rates. So just hypothetically speaking, let's say, you know, you're predominantly running a certain spot load for one of your customers at, say, $1,100. Okay. That might shoot up to like $1,250, maybe even $1,300, depending. Okay. So this is one of those things where you can kind of educate your shippers, especially if they're smaller shippers or a newer shipper, that if they're not entirely aware of the Blitz week and how that affects their movement of freight, right? And obviously their freight costs. So, you know, if you have to go back to them and say, hey, look, you know, I've got the trucks and things, but it's Blitz week. You know, the market is shot up and everything. You know, is there any flexibility on the rate at all? Because this is what I'm seeing. This is what we're going to need to get this done, right? Obviously, you don't want to turn around and gouge your customer or anything. Likewise with carriers, you don't want to, just because it's Blitz week, if you're moving that lane historically for 1,100, don't shoot for the moon. You might overprice yourself out of it, right? You're not the only truck on the road, even though capacity is falling off. Just something to kind of be mindful of. But if you can make a little bit extra on that load, then by all means, boo-boo, go get it, right? Because I'm all about carriers being profitable, and I hate to lose. In fact, that was a discussion I had recently with another broker they've lost over the last 2 years a couple of really good carriers that they like to work with, and it sucks. Like, they really felt that pain, right? When you and see, guys, and this all goes back to building your relationships, your carrier relationships, because when you have a really good carrier that you like to work with, in fact, I'm kind of dealing with a similar issue myself. I'm going to do everything I can to keep this carrier on this on one of my dedicated lanes that we move. The cargo insurance requirement is kind of sporadically here and there on some of the loads has gone up. Shipper did not make us aware of that. We weren't even aware of it until after we got the paperwork back, kind of a thing. I know I probably should have known, but it was a communication breakdown. And it was something that, historically, we've been, cargo value was, I think, right around, averaged around 85, 86,000, something like that. But then now it's been kind of brought to our attention, looking at some of the paperwork, that it's, hitting like, 120, 129, things like this. My carrier has 100K. So, we're working on doing that. And like I said, by all means, I don't want to use anybody else. If I can avoid it, I don't want to. Do I have a couple of other good carriers in the area? Yes, but I also know that this carrier knows the shipper. They know that receiver. My customer knows them, right? It's kind of a win-win. But going back, I digress. Going back to a couple of other brokers that I've been talking about that have lost carriers, in recent years as a result of, the downturn in the market and things. Even they kind of express the fact that, I'm trying to put every dime on it for them that I can, because I know that they're suffering, and I've got to make a living too, right? And they're doing everything possible to, either find more freight or try to get more money on the load for them, because they don't want to lose them. Ultimately, a few of them have fallen by the wayside, unfortunately. And it's sad, right? Because now they've got to turn around and build a whole new relationship. And with all the fraud in the industry, all the bad actors, right? Cargo theft has been on the rise this year, which kind of brings me to another point. Guys, you've got to properly vet your carriers. Carriers likewise, vet your brokers, okay? I sound preachy on this a little bit, because, and I don't mean to, but it saves us so much headache, right? And it seems like kind of a no-brainer. Would you go buy a car or buy a house without reading the contract? Don't fail to read your agreement with your brokers, okay? I've gotten so many messages from carriers who said, how can they do this? Well, what does your agreement say? Well, I don't know. I just signed it. I was in a hurry. Read your agreement. Take 5 minutes, right? It's 5 minutes out of your day. Also, if you're a broker who's sending over or has these outrageous fines and things, one of which, a $250 fine if we don't get check calls, blah, blah, blah. But then they're not available. But then the broker's not available. And the driver's on the phone for the last hour and a half, 2 hours, trying to talk to somebody, right? Listening to do. I'm not a singer, right? But listening to that lame hold music, that would be frustrating for anybody, You wouldn't want it to happen to you. Don't do it to your drivers. Okay? Answer the dang phone, right? Or at least reply to the email, something, right? Show that you've got some sort of a heartbeat. Okay? Because a couple of you carriers that I've talked to last week, and again, I apologize for not getting a couple of my normal videos out the tail end of last week, but I really was spending so much time with carriers and brokers and working on my RFQs and things. It was so overwhelming. We're running late into the evening, night, but yeah, build your relationships, because these carriers won't haul for you again, right? And I don't blame them. Absolutely do not blame them. And I guarantee you that you're going to regret it when the market picks up and its capacity keeps falling off, because this was a lane that, you know, that driver liked, right? They like the shipper, they like the receiver, they just don't like you. Fix it, right? You can be arrogant all you want, but all you're doing is hurting yourself. They'll find another broker to work with. They'll find a direct shipper to work with, which, by the way, quick little plug, don't forget to check out my recommended tools and services. We've got eCarrierCheck on there, great for vetting, sourcing shippers, building relationships. There's so many different functions there in eCarrierCheck, and it will pay itself back in the first week, right? Plus, Nate and the guys over there, super phenomenal. If you haven't checked them out, go check out their channel, eCarrierCheck. They actually have a channel, and really great following over there. A lot of great information when it comes to cold calling, building relationships, things like that. And I think that we're pretty parallel with most of our thoughts on a lot of things in the industry. So if you're looking for additional information or you want to check those guys out, by all means, check them out. They're super great. Also, Holland Cash, Danny over there from Operfi. So if you need factoring, don't forget to check out Operfi. They give discount veterans. They've got vendor resources. I mean, they've been in the industry, right? They're not just paper pushers. They've got real industry knowledge as a carrier, as a broker, right? So really super great team over there. Danny, Tom. I apologize to the other lady. I got a brain fart. But there's somebody else over there that I've talked to. Yeah, super, super great. Some of you have asked me for the DAT discount code. Which, by the way, before I get too far, eCarrierCheck.com. If you use promo code Freightmaster10, you get 10% off your first 3 months on that. Okay. Where was I at now? Oh, the DAT. Yep. There's a link. You get, 10% off for your first 12 months, right? Which actually, when they were doing, before they switched over, they were doing the first 30 days free. But regardless of what plan you choose, the 10% off for the first 12 months actually saves you more money than it does with their previous promo of the first 30 days free. So you know, every dime counts, especially with the way the economy is and everything like that right now. So anywho, moving on. Yeah, keeping your relationships. Guys, I can't say this enough. Carriers, not all brokers are the devil, right? Some of us are good, or we try to be good. Obviously, there's going to be instances, especially for you new people getting in, there's going to be times where you just can't make everybody happy, okay? But you have to try, you know, and sometimes it seems like a real headache. Sometimes it's not your fault, you know, but you're the intermediary. You're there to make sure that that carrier and that customer is happy, right? And another thing, for you brokers out there and broker agents, this is, I'm not even a driver, and this is a really big pet peeve of mine. If you are scheduling delivery appointments, don't fail to schedule it, number one. Number two, if you know that that driver has to get offloaded on Sunday, right, and it's a 7-day-a-week receiver, don't tell him it's Sunday when it's actually Monday. Because what that does, he might have another load to pick up Monday morning, and now he can't, right? This might be a load that he booked on a Thursday. Maybe the market rate dropped off on Monday. You wouldn't like it happening to you. Don't do it to them, okay? If you're guilty of that, now, I'm not saying that it's always an intentional thing. I've actually had some receivers, you schedule the appointment for, going back to my example, on a Sunday. They decide to change it to Monday because they overscheduled. Not your fault. I understand that. And And, you know, sometimes they'll make that driver a work-in, you know, on a Sunday if they can. And that's one of those instances where you're probably just not going to be able to make everybody happy. The driver's going to be upset, probably thinking that you didn't actually schedule the appointment for Sunday, when in all actuality, it was the receiver who changed it and failed to notify you, right? It can happen. It's happened to me probably 2 or 3 times over the course of the years. It's not a very commonplace thing, but it can happen. So, but a lot can happen out there, right? I talked about this in one of my recent videos, is that, you know, whether the truck broke down, you know, bad weather, there was an accident, the driver can't get through, answer the phone, answer the emails, answer the texts, right? You've got to be there for them. You've got to look at your carriers as your customer as well, right? And again, I don't know where that mindset came in, that carriers work for the broker, which they do, but you also work for them, okay? I know I got a little preachy in this video, and I apologize. It's just, I heard so much of that for the last week, you know, a week and a half, from umpteen drivers, right? Carriers. There are really good brokers out there to work with, which, another quick plug to Faith Logistics. Get with them, right? And if they don't have loads, you know, maybe in an area that you're looking for, they'll probably go out and try to find a customer, you know, that has a lane that works for you, right? And if they know that they've got the capacity, they can go back and say, hey, I've got 4 trucks every week, you know, right there in Tulsa or wherever, right? And I'm sure, at least that's how I would do it, but, you know, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to start soliciting business in those areas where you need. And if they've already got freight in a certain area, hook up with them. Okay. Again, really great people over there. I wouldn't steer you, you know, into just anybody. And again, a big thank you to Lori and everybody at Faith Logistics for the package and the kind letter. It's truly been a pleasure, you know, kind of networking with you and discussing, you know, the industry and everything. It's been great, as well as it is with a lot of you others. I had to give a shout out to them, because that was just so cool. But anyway, I'll kind of wrap this up. I have to get on with my day as well, but I hope everybody's having a great week. Again, don't forget, this is Blitz week. Capacity is going to fall off. A lot of drivers stay home during Blitz week. Market rate's going to bump a little bit, right? We might even see it kind of float over into next week just a little bit, but not probably anything severe, if it does at all. So yeah, with that, again, don't forget to check out, boy, where am I going with this? I don't know. It's been a crazy Monday already. But yeah, don't forget to check out my tools and services. Now I got hiccups. I'll cut this off now. I apologize. But anyway, have a great week. As always, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.